Hello there. Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name's Dave Bennet, and I'm one of the many volunteers that help out here at the TV station in Neepawa. And no, we're not sitting outside in the cold today. We've got the green screen working, so you've got a nice picture of the winter weather outside. You can enjoy it by sitting in here and listening to me read the news. NACT, of course, is seen on many channels, MTS 30 or 1030, Westman Cable 17, and Bell across Canada 592. And of course, we're online as well. Just Google nactv.tv. And if you've missed a program, you can actually pick it up again on our YouTube channel. The Read the News programs are often shown on the YouTube channel. There's a link when you get to the NACTV website. That's nactv.tv. Well, what's in the news today? A big change going on at HyLife. The front page article is HyLife is in good hands. The CEO is retiring and passes the torch to a seasoned successor. Seasons come and go. This is by Casper Warehan of the Neepawa Banner and Press. Seasons come and go, and soon comes the time to pass the torch to another. This time has come for HyLife President and CEO Grant Lazaruk, and he's pictured there on the left of the paper. The global food company and one of Neepawa's largest industries announced last week that Lazaruk will be retiring on February 29th of this year. Lazaruk has a long-standing history with the company, joining HyLife in 1997 and serving as CEO since 2010. He has been an integral part of HyLife, the company noted. Grant guided HyLife through both prosperous and challenging times, ensuring its growth and resilience. Providing comment on his retirement, Lazaruk shared that the timing just felt right. Quote, "Much thought has been put into this, and I'm ready to focus more on family, being a grandfather to my 2 grandchildren, and supporting community initiatives," in brackets such as the Southeast Event Center in Steinbach, said Lazaruk. "We have a solid leadership team at HyLife, and I feel the timing is right for me to transition." There's a picture of the successor here as well, Karan Sangphai, and the article goes on to say Lazaruk's successor as president and CEO will be Karan Sangphai, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Current HyLife Chief Strategic Officer. Sangphai has been a major part of the HyLife leadership team since 2022 and has immersed himself in the Steinbach community, the location of HyLife's headquarters, over the past 2 years. The company notes that Sangphai is a seasoned global leader, harboring a deep understanding of the business and embodies company values. Karan was a natural fit, Lazaruk enthused. He knows our company, people, and operations. He has a successful track record. HyLife is in good hands. And the article is continued on page 7, so I'll flip to that. Seven's on this side. Sorry, here we are. Sangphai honored to be Lazaruk's successor. And this is continued from page 1, right. Okay, Sangphai, who will officially step into his new role on March the 1st, 2024, also provided comment on the transition, stating, "I'm honored to take on this role. It's a privilege to lead a company with such a strong reputation. On behalf of the shareholders, I would like to thank Grant for his many years of service to HyLife. Grant has not only built a great company, but a great team with a collaborative culture. Our industry has recently faced challenges, but HyLife is strong and well positioned. I look forward to leading our company to new successes, carrying on our traditions and unwavering partnerships in the communities where we live and work." Sangphai added, "Our employees energize me. I visited countless locations and connected with the dedicated people working at our plant in Neepawa, driving our trucks, supporting HyLife feed mills, administration, and everything in between them. I'm confident in our workforce and look forward to taking HyLife to new heights." Congratulations are extended to Lazaruk on his retirement and to Sangphai on his new role within this long-standing industry. So there, big changes at the HyLife operation, in particular the A major part of that is the plant in Neepawa. Back on page 1, so I don't forget this important news item. This is regarding safety upgrades announced for the fatal crash site near Carberry by Banner staff. The scene of Manitoba's most historically deadly auto accident will undergo a major safety renovation. The provincial government announced on Monday, January the 8th, that it will commit up to $12 million to upgrading the intersection of Highway 5 and the Trans-Canada, which is located just north of Carberry. The site was where a fatal crash occurred last June between a bus and a semi-truck, which tragically took the lives of 17 seniors from the Dauphin area. Premier Wab Kinew, along with Transportation and Infrastructure Minister Lisa Naylor and other government officials, made the announcement in the city of Dauphin on January the 8th, shortly after meeting with some of the victims' families and survivors of the collision who live in the area. It goes on inside. Headline, committed to taking steps to improve safety at this intersection for the future. In quotes, we cannot make things right or make you whole, but we're going to work our hardest to ensure that something like this does not happen again, Kinew said at the news conference. Quote, this collision will be remembered as a tragic event that profoundly affected many Manitobans and beyond, Naylor added. While we cannot undo the pain these families are experiencing, we are committed to taking steps to improve safety at this intersection for the future. The funding announcement on Monday was made shortly after the release of an independent safety report on the intersection of the Trans-Canada Highway and Highway 5, the site of the accident. 3 improvement options were presented in the report, including 1, a roundabout, 2, the widening of the median at the intersection, 3, a new reduced collision U-turn. That's abbreviated as R-cut. You may have heard the term. An R-cut design that is widely used in the US, in which drivers turn right onto the main road and make a U-turn at a one-way median. An R-cut is common in many parts of the United States, but is just starting to gain popularity here in Canada. So they're offering those 3 options, and I guess engineers and numerous other people will have input into what actually happens to make it a more safe corner or intersection. In addition to outlining plans to increase safety, Kinew also announced the province will provide financial support for community efforts to commemorate those involved in this tragedy. We have heard, he says, from families and local municipal leaders who are working to honor their loved ones with a memorial, and we want them to know that the Manitoba government is ready to come to the table to support this project, said Kinew. Well, that's the front page. Here's first of all, right here at the bottom, there's a photo contest entitled Snow Day. And it's sponsored by Boston Pizza, I see here. Send your best photo to the Neepawa Banner and Press in any of these 3 categories. So if you're a photographer, listen up. 1, best Christmas photo. 2, best kids winter sports photo. 3, best nature photo. Any season there, apparently. So if you're interested, check that out at Banner and Press, or Boston Pizza would have information too, I'm sure they're involved. Okay, another article here on page 2 entitled, It's Almost Unbelievable. Gladstone business owner takes home 2 national awards. This is by Casper Wareham. A Gladstone business owner is ringing in the new year with a pair of national honors. Sheldon Gould, owner of Sonic Sladen Music Productions and S&N Custom Lawn Care, is the proud winner of the 2024 Canadian Choice Awards DJ Services in Manitoba category and the Landscapers Gladstone Manitoba category. The Canadian Choice Award has a focus on highlighting small to mid-sized Canadian businesses that provide exceptional products and services and enrich the communities in which they are based. Quote, I'd like to thank everyone for all their votes, and I look forward to many more years of service, Gould, I guess, enthused. I'm hoping to expand both companies and be bigger and better and continue to grow. Gould added, I have no idea who nominated me or anything. Even being nominated was a big thing. It's almost unbelievable. I'm just a small guy and there's lots of fish in the sea. Well, congratulations to him. More to the article. Gould has been operating Sonic Sladen for approximately 23 years. That's the DJ service. And S&N Lawn Care for about 17 years. Both businesses were first started in Verdon before Gould and his family moved to Gladstone, a community that they have now called home for about 6 years. Sonic Sladen Music Productions is a mobile DJ, live sound and recording service that also provides light and sound rentals and special effects, as well as installs, servicing both Manitoba and Saskatchewan. On the flip side, S&N, Lawn Care that is, provides a variety of commercial and residential landscaping and maintenance services to Gladstone and the surrounding area, such as tree trimming, custom tilling, snow removal, etc. Although these two very different lines of work, the roots of Gould's passions are all connected to the same source, his family. I grew up on a farm, he says, south of Reston until Christmas Day 1999, when my dad passed away of cancer. So I grew up on a farm and my dad would get me to mow the lawn, Gould explained. Then I moved from Reston to Verdon in the summer of 2000. And then by about 2003, I started helping people mow their lawns and stuff. Eventually, I was getting more and more customers, so I came up with the idea of a company and went from there. I started branching out into other services to deal with the lawn care, and it kept growing. In addition to his family's agricultural background, the household was also a musical one. All members of Gould's family shared a love for music, with many of them playing instruments. This love for music also extended to his cousins, one of which was a DJ. So in the early 80s and 90s, when I was little, we'd go to family dances and he'd be playing. I was always shy and didn't like dancing, so I'd sit up with him and I got interested in DJing there, said Gould. There was a draw at Radio Shack in Verdon for a home stereo system, one of the bigger style ones, and I put money in and I won. So I started doing small gigs for my sister's friends in their basements. Gould added, one thing led to another and I started buying equipment and it hasn't stopped. With his enthusiasm and know-how for sound and music, part of Gould's career included many years as a sound tech for the Odd Theatre, AUD that is, the Odd Theatre in Verdon, as well as having a seat on his board. I put thousands of hours in doing concerts and musicals. Through that, I was able to meet different people and actually got to work with quite a few famous people over the years, Gould enthused. So that was interesting, and a lot of them I'm still friends with today. Sonic Sladen Music Productions has provided sound for many artists, including Doc Walker, Buck Cherry, and Big Daddy Taz, and Sierra Nobel. Musicals, drama productions, and choirs such as Les Miserables, Mamma Mia, Larceny and Old Lace, Notable Women, Vincent Massey Choir, Brandon Folk Festival, Video Demo Derby, and much more. So he's a busy fella. It takes a family, it goes on to say here. Gould runs both businesses from his home and has one kid at 7 years of age, as well as one newly announced to be on the way. In his final comments, Gould noted that he's ever thankful for his family's support. Quote, I might be the owner, but a business takes a family to run it over the years. Gould enthused. I couldn't keep up with it myself if I didn't have my family throughout the years helping me. My mum, and now the wife and kid, and now another one on the way. So more help coming. He added, my one boy, he's interested in doing this when he gets older already. So it'll hopefully be the plan to pass the business down through the generations. Well, isn't that interesting? He wasn't aware of Sheldon Gould or his businesses. So congratulations to local businesses that took home 2 national awards. All right, page 3. There's the looking back. I always enjoy the looking back. I'll put this paper part down for a minute. There we are. Oh. There's a picture here of this old house. The headline says, Stroman Home Journeys to Carberry District. Now, we were reading this a bit, and I was a little confused. We'll see if we can sort it out. It's in the 50-year-ago column. No, sorry, it's, where is it? Yes, it is. It's in the 50-year-ago column. The former home of D.G. Stroman, situated 5 miles south of the airport, that would be Neepawa Airport, so 5 miles south, is being moved to a new location about 2.5 miles south of Neepawa on the Carberry Road. So that's just on the highway to Carberry and 2.5 miles south of Neepawa, to become the new home for his grandson, Barry Stroman, and family. The house was built in 1916 on the main road to Brandon by Jack McClory at what became known as the Stroman Corner. So that would be south of at the airport, I'm assuming. Excavation began on June the 10th and the house was completed for Christmas. That was back in 1916. And the house was completed for Christmas. It was recognized as one of the nicer homes in the district, with 5 bedrooms and a bath upstairs, 4 rooms downstairs with sliding doors between the living room and dining room that opened into a large area for community gatherings. Now the move, I guess, happened 50 years ago, 1974, as the headline said. So the article goes on to say, the moving was in the capable hands of V.C. Minty of Onanola. Oh, that's interesting. Minty still moves equipment and so on from the Onanola area. So people do stick around the area, that's for sure. It was moved down the municipal road, over the railroad tracks, and across the field and set on a cement foundation already prepared. Barry Stroman is going to renovate the house and make a beautiful home in the country. The setting in the summertime is magnificent. And I think we've got that figured out. That, in my opinion, would be the Lily Nook, which is south of Neepawa, that Stromans have owned for some time. So that's, I'm guessing, is the rest of the story. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Also 50 years ago, it was interesting, last week in February will again be Newfie Week. 24 students and 2 sets of escorts plan to spend a week in Neepawa sampling Western hospitality. And that was a group from Newfoundland. I do remember that because those students came to the school where I was teaching here in Neepawa. I recall that 1 week exchange. And even more interesting in the looking back is the 100-year-ago item here, January 11th, 1924, which in fact was yesterday. This was our byline. It says, enough snow has fallen this week to allow the sleigh school vans to run once more. We're having severely cold weather this week, and many have very bad colds, which prove very troublesome at times. Well, that could be written for January 11th, 2024, couldn't it? Well, other than the sleigh school vans. So 100 years later, and the weather hasn't changed. All right. There's a couple of adverts on the bottom here I might just mention. Playing at the Roxy Theatre this weekend is Wonka, based on the extraordinary character at the center of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. That's January 1920. NACTV, highlight of the week, Lions Care Assisted Living Facility. That's the one in Carberry. And the Old Time Dance Part 3. We got a lot of video at the dance a month ago. And people enjoy the old time dance programs we put on. And there's a basketball game, Neepawa Ballers Junior Division, the Elite Hoops versus the Truckers. It was played a while ago, I guess, or not that long ago maybe. And the bingo jackpot is now over $17,000. Wednesday night, bigger bingo, 7 p.m. at NACTV. Get your cards. Also might mention there's Minnedosa Adult Learning Center has an advert. They're offering high school courses and computer class for adults who want a high school diploma to upgrade present skills, high school credits to enter college or university programs. And computer classes start the week of January 29th with an intro level program. Check it out. Minnedosa Collegiate it's at. You can call Val Gaywell or Gowell 204-867-2519. People in Minnedosa would know about that if you need to check that out or would like to. Very good. All right, put the paper back together here. Oh, I love Tundra. Those that get the paper, I'm sure. I love Tundra. It's the cartoon that's in the banner pretty well every week by Chad Carpenter. And here's a gentleman, well, it's a black and white paper, but I'm assuming it's a red suit with a white beard and so on. He's at the employment office. And the employment officer says, well, I'm a little concerned about all these 364-day gaps in your resume. Well, some suited gentleman only works 1 day a year. I'm sure you know who that is. And then we've got the editorials. So on this is Ken's column, and it does say at the top here that the following column is a rerun from the January 13th Neepawa banner 2023. Last year, Ken's been away. And of course his disclaimer is always at the bottom. The views expressed in this column are the writer's personal views and not those to be taken as being the view of the banner and press staff. Ken writes, in just about every TV show, online story, or in actual conversations, I hear so much negativity. The TV shows are a riot, especially the real estate ones. A couple looks at 3 houses, picks the one best suited them, and then goes hard on renovations. The initial negativity really galls me, says Ken. They come into a house, take one quick glance at the kitchen and say, this kitchen has got to go. The cabinets are dated, the countertop is the wrong color, and it's not granite. My goodness, I would like to take those folks back in time to my mother's kitchen in the 1960s. It consisted of a brick lean-to tacked onto the side of an 1896 1.5-story brick home. The ceiling was so low you could easily touch it at the low side. There was no running water or sewage, and the kitchen cupboards consisted of a plywood home-built box with a painted masonite top. The only additional work surface was the kitchen table and the wood stove top. If today's home renovators had to live and work in my mama's kitchen, they would not have been so quick to rip out what looks to me like pretty good cupboards. Oops, sorry, cabinets. Way too much negativity. On the street you hear people complaining about their latest meal at a restaurant. This wasn't right, that was wrong, complain, complain, complain. If those same complainers could spend a day or two in Ukraine or in parts of Africa, and we might add the Gaza Strip this year, they might change their minds about food. In Canada, it's pretty hard to sympathize with food quality and quantity complaints when most of us are as fat as we are. Way too much negativity. In terms of politics, Ken says, we have lots to be thankful for. That said, we need major improvements, and some needed changes are pretty self-evident. But we'll leave that for another column. When we compare Canada to China, to Russia, to Brazil, or even the United States, we have it pretty good. Healthcare receives lots of criticism, but even with all our problems, healthcare is pretty good in Canada. Having experienced both Canadian and U.S. healthcare personally and firsthand, I would say that it comes to emergency care. When it comes to emergency care, the two countries are about the same. If you need emergency care, it happens pretty fast in both countries. Canada falls behind when it comes to wait times. Wait times basically don't exist in the U.S. and not in Mexico either, as I've been told by people with first-hand knowledge of their system. Where Canada beats the US is in cost to the individual. In Canada, we all pay for each other's care, but in the US, it's health insurance or cash up front. In my experience, the healthcare bureaucracy in both countries is equally bad, but neither deserve the level of negativity we often hear. What it boils down to is do the best you can with what you have. Look forward to continual improvements. One way of summing it up is to hope for the best, prepare for the worst, and take what you get. I've heard Ken say that before on many topics. Sounds a bit brutal, but maybe there's a better way of coping. An old song from the Christian church says, count your blessings, name them one by one, count your blessings and see what God has done. How true. Never mind the dry toast at the restaurant, he says, or the cool coffee. Maybe be happy with the old kitchen cabinets. Be thankful that we have pretty good doctors, healthcare staff, and hospitals. Counting our blessings is a good place to put our minds away from the negativity. Having escaped from negativity, maybe we can work together to fix stuff, be it food, cabinets, healthcare, or any one of many human issues. It's a lot easier to build and renew from a positive mindset than from the depths of negativity. Well, thank you, Ken. That's words to ponder. Rita Friesen, what has Rita got to say this week? It was one of those rabbit holes that found me spending much of a morning pursuing. Bullies, or this is the title I guess I should have read, it's called Bully or Bullied. It was one of those rabbit holes that found me spending much of a morning pursuing. Bullies are too often a topic of discussion in school settings, and we know it occurs in the workplace, on the playground, in the home, in public, in churches, in fraternal organizations. Heck, it can occur anywhere and everywhere. And I don't like it, she says. The dictionary definition of a bully, a blustering, browbeating person, especially one who is habitually cruel, insulting, or threatening to others who are weaker, smaller, or in some way vulnerable. Other links explain that the bully is often jealous or insecure or bullied themselves. I can see that. It can also be a display of perceived power by one who lacks true power. I can see that. One research study showed, quote, the traditional view of bullying, where there's a victim and a bully, was much more complicated. Bullying rarely takes place between the victim and the bully alone. It tends to be group behavior. Others can have a significant influence on the outcome or behaviors among children and young people, intentionally or otherwise. Well, that quote took me back to middle school years, says Rita. We had a teacher who was less than kind and understanding. Her pet victims were two lads from farming families. Hard as they worked at home, they worked at school, but learning didn't come easy for them. One morning when the lads asked for clarification on an assignment, Mrs. H uttered in a loud, carrying voice, your Bible says God helps those who help themselves. So for God's sake, help yourself. As she walked to the teacherage for noon break, I fell in step with her and simply said that her words were inaccurate and inappropriate. The quote was not as accurate quote at all, and the guides didn't deserve to be treated in such a manner, ever. And then I walked away. I remember the feeling of my knees turning to jelly and the butterflies in my stomach. But in that moment, for me, enough was enough. I honestly don't recall if her words or actions changed, but my view of her certainly did. The next quick memory that surfaced was working with my second generation family. There was bullying in the school. In brackets, she says, my opinion is that middle school, junior high girls can be the worst. We role-played scenes. How can we best handle the problem? Either walk away with dignity, diffuse the situation, or stand strong. It was a helpful exercise, allowing a safe place to practice and prepare. And here is the crux of my reflections. When I stand up to a bully, am I being a bully? As many of you know, my faith is my anchor. The creed I adhere to states in one phrase, we are called to be the church, to seek justice and resist evil. It hasn't been only once that my knees turned to jelly and my stomach turned to a butterfly haven. May it always be so. Well, thank you, Rita. Here's a picture on page 5 from the Beautiful Plains Museum entitled Building the Mentmore Rink, if I can get it up there. It's got the trusses from the ground all the way up to the top, and there are 4 gentlemen up there on the trusses, and there's a fellow right up on the very top, a couple on a crane, and about 3 on the ground. So lots of workmen there. It was the Mentmore Rink, and it was being built in 1949. Well, I believe I skated in that rink at one time or two. We had friends, or my parents had friends out in the Mentmore district. I think perhaps I did. Okay, thanks for the picture. Courtesy of the museum. They've got lots of pictures over there. If you haven't been to the Neepawa Museum, of course it's not open right now, but it probably could be for a tour perhaps, but it is open in the summer. You should check it out. And I guess on the next page, I'll just go straight to that since we're talking about the museum. Here's a picture of the Neepawa Sports Arena on the bottom corner here. And below it says, pictured here is the Neepawa Sports Arena. A date for the photo and the location of the building were not available. It was demolished in 1972. Well, I don't know the date of the picture, but it must have been 1935 or later, because I can read right up on the top. You can on the TV there, but Neepawa Sports Arena, and you can see the construction date of 1935 is put on there. So really, 1972, it was only 37 years old when they tore it down. Well, of course, they were looking for artificial ice, right? Well, artificially cooled water to make ice, I guess is really what it is. And that's when the new Yellowhead Arena was starting to be in progress, I guess. I do remember, I learned my hockey and even started my coaching career there at that old Neepawa Sports Arena. So I was well familiar with it. And we've got a great picture my mother took of us lads. We were about 13, I think, at the time, of a whole, there must be 25 of us in the sports arena. Anybody that was there that day got in the picture. It's rather neat to have all those. And I name about 85% of them in the picture, so that's pretty good. Anyway, that's, and the location, of course. The location was across from the Legion, kind of where the drop-in center, the senior drop-in center is right now. Took up that area right there, I'm sure of that. Also on page 6, a picture of a couple of gentlemen that got honors. Manitoba Trucking Association honors Red Line drivers. And there's Jeff Smith on the left, of Neepawa, and Ron Kaslik of Brandon on the right. And a little story was submitted by L. Lepp. Says, on October 28th, 2023, Red Line Transport of Rivers held their staff party to celebrate Christmas. A bit early, but okay. And another safe and successful year of serving Manitoba and Saskatchewan with hopper bottom service. Additionally, 2 Red Line Transport drivers were given awards to recognize their professional service to Red Line Transport and the trucking industry. Aaron Delinyuk, Executive Director of the Manitoba Trucking Association, traveled out from Winnipeg to present Jeff Smith of Neepawa with a 10-year service certificate and Ron Kaslik of Brandon with a lifetime of service certificate as he retired on November 1st, 2023, a few days later. Jeff from Neepawa also received a 10-year service award from Red Line Transport, and Ron received a 5-year service award and retirement plaque from Red Line Transport. Both gentlemen have safely and professionally moved thousands of tons of bulk products to and from markets and production plants over the years. Quote, "We are extremely proud and thankful for Jeff and Ron and our entire crew at Red Line Transport Limited," says L. Lepp. He then says, "Our customers have developed a strong and trusting relationship with them." So that's good. All right, well, there's Helen's Meatless Mondays. What's that? Meatless Mondays is a recent international movement aimed at lowering our overall meat consumption. The Meatless Mondays message to, in quotes, skip meat once a week is not a new thing, says Helen, because it has a history reaching back to World War I and World War II, apparently. Then it was called Meatless Tuesdays. I guess it must have been on Tuesdays. And we changed it to Mondays. Maybe the Tuesdays was, I don't know. Meatless Mondays came about from the John Hopkins Center and expanded quickly when best-selling author and food advocate Michael Pollan endorsed Meatless Mondays during the Oprah Winfrey Show. The day Monday works well because Monday's the day people are most open to adopting healthy habits. Probably because they've had a big meal on Sunday, I suppose. Anyway, eating less meat and more vegetables, beans, and nuts can reduce the risk of heart disease, cancers, and helps in maintaining a healthy weight, which in turn helps in preventing type 2 diabetes. And so Helen has presented a couple of meatless casserole dishes here. They're easy to make, come together in just one dish. Whether you're looking for a hearty meatless main or a side dish recipe, these vegetable casseroles are ready for the task at hand. Well, we won't go into the whole recipe, but if you really are interested, seek out a banner somewhere, and it's there, or give Helen a call. And I might mention one I've heard on here, the joint AGM of the Nippon District Chamber of Commerce. That's what it is. It's on January 29th, 2024. That's coming up. It's at the Neepawa Legion, 6:30. Guest speaker Chuck Davidson, the CEO of Manitoba Chambers of Commerce. Tickets $40 each, available at the Chamber office. Don't have a phone number here, but check it out. Chamber office, January 29th. Chamber of Commerce AGM. Okay, well, I think if you'll let me pause for a moment here, I'm going to have a little drink of water, get the whistle wetted up before we proceed. Good, thank you. This is a great article and really was interested when I read this. It's called Memories from Way Back When. It's a enterprise of three young women here in Neepawa, all related. Kinsmen Kourts II to release children's book featuring stories of the past, and it's called Way Back When. Casper Warehand wrote this. Neepawa seniors were part of a special project recently. Over the past few months, residents at Kinsmen Kourts II, KK2 we call it, have been collaborating with Recreation Activity Director Corey Ford, artist Kathy Ford, and writer Kim Forsman to bring memories, poetry, and art together to create a gateway to the past. Their stories, effort, and passion have all culminated to create the children's book entitled Way Back When, which is anticipated to be available for purchase in early February. Quote, I think we had about 12 residents who put in between 1 and 4 quotes each. There were some who couldn't put their words into writing, but they did sit down one-on-one and do it that way, said Corey. It was neat. I wasn't sure how many we would have or what the interest level would be on it, but it was more than I could have ever imagined. So Corey interviewed and worked with the residents. Okay, now the process of putting the book together began back in October of 2023 with KK2 residents meeting in group sessions and discussing things from the past that Corey noted many children would not understand today. Quote, we did one session to start it off with, and they just enjoyed sitting down and discussing things that happened in the past, and they couldn't believe how much stuff that I didn't even know existed in such a short time ago. Corey added, it was very neat to see the involvement. Once the residents' quotes were compiled, they were passed on to Kathy Ford for illustration. Kathy works in watercolors and had just begun painting in June of 2023 as a hobby, making this project a unique experience for her practice. Quote, I thought watercolor painting was a fun thing to try. and it was amazing to exercise that craft as a part of this project, Kathy enthused. It was an awesome idea. I was excited to take part in it. Each of Kathy's illustrations features objects that relate to the quotes provided by the seniors at KK2. This, Kathy noted, was actually a fairly easy process. We chatted back and forth about objects I could paint for the stories, and for some, we had several options, said Kathy, and with the internet, we could find all sorts of reference pictures for those objects. The final touch before setup and printing was to then provide the quotes and illustrations to writer Kim Forsman. While Forsman has always written for fun, whether it be general poetry or stories about her kids turned into poetry, this too was also her first time doing such a project. It was fun to do a project like this. With me, I can sit down and read a quote that they've done about the past, and something just pops in and I can write the 4-line poem right off the bat, while others didn't come quite as fast. Forsman shared. So it was challenging in a way, but it was really neat to hear about the past and compare it to what we're living in right now and the future. Forsman added, and it was interesting to see the things that stick with some of them, that you know that there's some of them that are struggling with dementia, but there are certain points of their past life that stand out, and it's important that they let that be known for their families. It's a very special time for some of them have written about it, or that some of them have written about it. It was fun. It was nice to be able to talk to them and tell those stories. I think it's going to be a really special when it's done. Way Back When, that's the name of the book, Way Back When's final format showcases the original resident's quote on the left-hand side, while the right side contains both the poem by Forsman and the watercolor painting by Kathy. The printing process for Way Back When is currently underway, with copies anticipated to be available for purchase sometime in the first week of February. That's in a month's time, less than a month. The books will be available for purchase at KK2 or via the KK2 website, with additional locations currently being considered. And I'm sure the TV station banner would be very happy to help. All right. Excellent article. That was really great. I enjoyed that. Looking forward to seeing that book, and congratulations to Corey for getting that going, and Kathy and Kim, her mother and mother-in-law, I think that is, for being part of it. Super deal, super. Okay, the Manitoba Ag Days. How much time we got? We're still got a bit of time. What else is here? Well, we got some sports to talk about. Fire. Okay, we'll do a little bit about the Manitoba Ag Days here. Canada's largest indoor farm show takes over the Keystone Centre. And that is January 16, 17, 18. So that is just coming up next week. Or when you see it, it may be this week. This was submitted by the Ag Days. I'll just scan a bit and give you some of it. We're only a few days away from the 47th Annual Manitoba Ag Days Show. We're all set to transform the Keystone Centre in Brandon, Manitoba into Canada's largest indoor farm show for 3 days of all things agriculture. The 3-day event is an exposition of agricultural production expertise, technology, and equipment that celebrates all things produced on the prairies, explains Kristen Phillips, Manitoba Ag Days General Manager. Underlined a few things here. New for 2024 is a craft beer tasting event on Monday, so that's the day ahead, January the 15th, featuring over a dozen local breweries. There's a kickoff breakfast on Tuesday, I think. Where can you get more information? 550 exhibitors, including 32 contenders in the Innovation Showcase. So there's a competition there. Explained Brad Cramond, co-chair. Website, www.agdays.com. Agdays.com will get you all the information you may need. Tickets for the show are on sale. They're available on the website as well. Early bird tickets are $15 per day, and 3-day passes are available for $40. And if you show up at the door, it's $20 a day. You can get them online or at the Dome building on the Brandon Ag grounds over there by the arena. Okay, anything? Oh, they've got a lot of speakers that you may be interested in. I'll just mention some of them at this point. Come back if we have time for further, I guess. Okay, Going After the Thing You Want in Life by Graham Sherman, the Tool Shed Brewing Company. Tuesday at 3. Chase the Good Tour with Brett Gardner, Canadian Professional Rodeo Announcer of the Year. So you like rodeo, you'll like to hear him talk, I'm sure. Wednesday, January 17th, 4:15. Social, the Ag Connection moderators, Sarah Legui. Panel, John Kowalchuk, Amy Smith, Andy Patsor, Wednesday, January 17th, 11 a.m. Does variable rate technology fit on your farm with Jay Wetter? Salinity, is tile the answer? What else? Oh, here, now David Frum, that's a name I know. Manitoba Ag Days is also proud to present writer and geopolitical commentator David Frum and futurist and innovation expert Jim Carroll to explore the world of agriculture in 2024 and beyond. So that I would enjoy, I think. David Frum speaks Tuesday, January 16th at 1:45 in the FCC Center. Lots of good speakers there, I think people would enjoy. So check that out if you're of a mind and interest there. Well, let's go to some sports now, I think. Under-9 hockey tournament held in Neepawa. Picture here of the under-9 team. There were 3 Neepawa minor hockey teams that took part in this under-9 tournament over the weekend. Pictured here, the under-9 McCannell Club, who end up winning the B-side. The A-side championship, well, that may be in the write-up. Let's go to the write-up here. There's 3 more pictures on the other side here, so yeah, great. The rink at the Yellowhead Center was buzzing this past weekend with Neepawa Minor Hockey's U9, that's under 9, Titans tournament. In total, there were 12 teams that came to play in the first ever Clash at the Coliseum. Wow, what a title. Including 3 teams representing Neepawa, who had the opportunity to compete in front of family and friends over the 2-day event. There were also teams from the communities of Brandon, 2 teams, Minnedosa 2, Elkhorn, Glenborough, Grand Plains, McCreary, and Russell. A combined total of 24 games were played over the weekend, concluding with the Brandon Subway Stars defeating the Grand Plains Hawks in the A-side final. For many of these 7- and 8-year-olds, this was their first tournament, and they were very excited to take the ice. I bet they were. And the parents were proud, I might add. Overall, it was a successful weekend for the Yellowhead Center, Neepawa Minor Hockey, and the U9 Titans. A number of visiting teams expressed their appreciation for the tournament and attention to detail. It was a great team effort by the organizing committee, volunteers, parents, and coaches for making this weekend special. It's always fun getting an opportunity to showcase our facility and the community of Neepawa, says the person who submitted the article. We don't know who. Anyway, the A-side championship was won by Brandon, right, a team from Brandon. Congratulations to all the players, coaches, etc. Super. Hey, those kids look sharp in their Titans uniforms there in that other picture. Wow. Here's a picture of 3 of them on the ice, and it looks like a breakaway. The boy in the black, or the person, I'm sorry, in black is out in front. Gladstone Lakers defeat McGregor, but fall to Melita. So this is in the Tiger Hills League, I guess, right? It was a wild weekend for the Gladstone Lakers as they found themselves in the middle of a pair of high-scoring games in the Tiger Hills Hockey League. First result was in their favor as they nearly doubled up on the McGregor Wild on Friday, January the 5th by the score of 11-6. The first period had as much action as some full games as there were combined 8 goals scored in the first period. Gladstone scoring 5 of those markers to have a 5-3 lead going into the first intermission. However, McGregor scored twice in quick succession in the second to tie things up, but then the Lakers rallied to collect 3 more of their own. So it was 8-5 after 40. For the third, Gladstone added 3 more, while the Wild could only respond with a single goal, making it 11-6. Names mentioned in the article for offensive contributions were Jesse Toth, 5 points, Jory Geddes, Connor Grunston, Sean Kubas. Okay, could be on either team, I guess. All right, that's them. What about the farmers? Let's see how they were doing. They're on the other page here. Neepawa farmers split weekend games. Neepawa farmers returned to action in 2024 with a pair of games in the Tiger Hills Hockey League. The first matchup saw Neepawa travel down to Killarney on Friday, January the 5th to face the league's best team for the first half of the season, the Shamrocks. Killarney Shamrocks were 11-1-0. Wow, that's a pretty good record. Killarney lived up to its elite reputation with a 10-0 win over Neepawa. They had 7 separate goal scorers for this game. Bryce Enns picking up 4 points. Okay, Neepawa looked to shake off that lopsided road result with a home game of their own the next night against the Wawanesa Jets, and that night proved to be much better for the farmers as they earned themselves a 7-4 victory. Initially, it appeared as though Neepawa might cruise to the win as they scored a pair in the first period. Shane Byram notched the first of the evening with just under 6 minutes remaining in the period, and a few minutes later, Cal McDonald added to the lead. It was McDonald's 10th goal of the year. In the first half of the second period, however, Wawanesa just went off with 4 consecutive goals. Well, that would deflate the Neepawa fans and team, I guess. Neepawa, however, didn't reply back until late in the period as Dylan Birch clipped the deficit to just 1 going into the final 20 minutes. For the third period, the Farmers asserted themselves with 4 goals to take the lead and ultimately win 7-4. Reagan Buchanan, Connor Gork, Jory Kilbacki, and Lance Nugent all registered goals, with goals coming during a power play. Goaltender Reese Jones, Reese Jones picked up the win, stopping 37 shots for the Farmers. Well, how are we doing? I didn't finish Gladstone there, did I really? Gladstone the following night hit the road to Melita for a game against the Bisons. This game would be another wild shootout, though this time the Lakers were on the losing end, falling 13-7. So both the Lakers and the Farmers split their weekend games. All right, well, here's the Titans report. The picture of a dejected Titan kind of bent over by the boards there at the end of probably the Tuesday night game. They're reeling, the byline says, from this recent losing streak, which includes a 3-0 loss to the Goffin Kings on Tuesday the 9th. And I was there to see that. It was a great game, really. 0-0 until well into the third period. Anyway, maybe we better read the article before I expound. The start of the 2024 has been filled with nothing but frustrations for the Neepawa Titans. This is Evan Devereaux writing. Since returning from the MJHL's holiday break, the club has lost 3 straight games in January. The latest of those, a 3-0 defeat to the Dauphin Kings on Tuesday, January the 9th. Combined with a pair of losses just before Christmas, the Titans' record has now dropped to 15-18-1 and has them holding on to the final playoff position in the West Division by just 2 points. Titans head coach and general manager Ken Pearson said this recent slide can be attributed to what he describes as a loss in identity. Quote, "We're a team that thrived on hard work, not worrying about the pretty plays, and that's something in these last 3 games we have lost. We've lost our way," stated Pearson. "We've been shut out in 2 of our last 3 home games, and the power play has gone MIA. That's missing in action. Because we're trying to be too fancy. We just need to simplify things, get traffic to the front of the net, and do those little things that made us successful in December." And they were. They had a really good run in December. Not done yet is the bit of a heading. Despite this recent adversity and the trading deadline quickly approaching, Pearson said they're not ready to give up on the season just yet. Quote, "We're still 2 points ahead and still in a playoff position, and that's the way we're operating. If a trade opportunity comes up that could improve our team, we're going to do that. But this is still the group that found success in December and competed with the top teams in the league. We just have to get back to the hard work that put us there. Well, as I was saying, the game was a 0-0 tie right up into past the middle of the third period, and both goalies played fantastically, made some great saves, and the checking was very close. Very few breakaway or opportunities to score, really. When there was, the goalies came up strong. And Dauphin got a goal, and Neepawa couldn't respond, pulled their goalie, and then it was 2-0, and that took the wind out of the sails of the Neepawa Titans, and it was 3-0 before the end of the final whistle. So that's how it went. So, Owen finishes the article by saying, next up for the Neepawa are a pair of home games versus tough opponents. On Friday, January the 12th, which is today, the day I'm reading this, the Titans host the OCN Blizzard that are 22-10-0-3 for 39 points, and followed by a game on Saturday against the Winkler Flyers, 24-5-2 for 25 points. So. Yes, the standings on the Western Division, the Oil Caps are in first with 52 points. OCN second with 47. The Dauphin Kings now move up, are in third, but get up now to 39 points. And Neepawa, it's sitting in fourth at 31 points. Wayway Wolverines at 29, 2 points behind, and Swan Valley Stampeders at 18. The Southern Division is led by the Steinbach Pistons and the Winkler Flyers. And I was reading somewhere that 3 of these teams are in the top 10 across Canada for junior hockey at the moment. They're in the top 10. Verdun, I think, was 9th or 10th. Winkler was 9th or 10th, and Steinbach, I think, was up at 4th, perhaps. So really great hockey, caliber of hockey here in the MJHL this year particularly, and the Titans are in the mix. So get out and support them. All right. Tournament of Champions and Minor Hockey Report. Great picture here. This is from Carberry. Carberry always has a page of information in the Neepawa Banner Press. Well, I shouldn't say always, but I can't remember when they didn't. But and this is by Jolene Balsunas. Sorry if I mispronounced that, but she's with the local journalism initiative, LJI, and doing a fine job with Carberry News and that. And here's a picture, Tournament of Champions in Minor Hockey. The byline says, Carberry hosted the Tournament of Champions recently with Carson Bjarnson of the Brandon Wheat Kings returning home to conduct the puck drop, along with friend Caleb Hedlund. Now, I don't know those young men, but the two with the Wheat King jerseys are Carson Bjarnson and Caleb Hedlund. And the Panthers and the Rockets jerseys here would be the representative from each of the two teams that were about to face off in one game of the tournament. Anyway, Jolene writes, this past weekend, the Under-15 Tournament of Champions returned to Carberry. First up was Carberry's versus Neepawa, with Carberry taking the game 4-2. Remember, these are U15s, under-15 teams. So Carberry beat Neepawa 4-2. With Carberry hosting the Tournament of Champions, it was a perfect opportunity for Carson Bjarnson to come home and be part of the ceremonial puck drop. Carson brought his good friend Caleb Hedlund to join in the fun. The Plainsmen U15 went on to defeat Dauphin 5-4, taking them to the A side. Semi-final against Neepawa. Well, Neepawa must have won as well after that first loss. This game ended in a 3-2 shootout with Dawson Smart winning player of the game. Carberry won, I guess, right. Carberry-Glenborough met their match in the Tournament of Champions A-side final, right? Losing, the team is called Carberry-Glenborough. Okay. They met their match, however, in the Tournament of Champions A-side final, losing 7-1 to Roblin. The boys fought hard and didn't lose on lack of effort. Worked hard for a hometown crowd. It was so great to see the stands full of community members who came out to support their local team. The under-11 team traveled to Portage and started the Portage Cup with a shootout win against Morden. Macy Eli got her first goal and was named player of the game. The under-11 Plainsmen lost their second game to Neepawa. Devon Bromley was awarded player of the game. The Portage Cup came to a close for the under-11 Plainsmen with a loss to the River East Royals. Curtis Robertson was named player of the game. So I'm thinking those are Carberry boys or players. Under 13 Plainsmen played their first game of the new year in Glenborough against Hartney. It was a close, intense game, but unfortunately ended an 8-7 loss for the visitors, which was Carberry Glenborough. Well, no, Carberry Glenborough is the name of the team, so they lost. Tough to figure that out when you're not there to know exactly the names of the teams and that. Good. Thanks, Jolene, for that report. Well, that gets us to the back of the paper. There's, I missed this here. I wanted to do this here. This is a couple of pictures, another picture from the museum here. Fire decimates Fenwick's building, and see the truck here back and the hose up there, shooting wire, a lot of smoke coming out of the brick building there. And here's a fireman down below. That's a great picture. The byline says, at Christmas in 1949, Neepawa saw the Fenwick store burn down. It was formerly located on the southwest side of Hamilton and Mountain. Well, that's the main intersection where the lights are, the southwest corner. That's where Fresh Mart is right now. Okay, well, yeah, I remember that old building there. I'm not sure if it built down entirely. A new one was built where Fresh Mart is, or whether it was salvaged and rebuilt, used the brick and rebuilt everything inside. Anyways, it was called Fenwick's at the time that it burned in 1949. I wasn't old enough to remember. I was here, but not old enough to remember that. Pictured above, smoke bellows from the structure that was home to Fenwick's. And pictured left, the firefighter pictured here is Gordon Hall. Well, yes, I remember Gordon, longtime resident of Neepawa. And I'll bet he was, my memory serves me right, I'll bet he was vice fire chief. He might have been fire chief at that time. Parrott, can't remember was fire chief. Had a Dalmatian dog, I remember that. John Parrott's father, went to school with John. Can't think of his name, but anyway, Gordon Hall, one of the firemen there. Great picture. Thanks to the museum for putting some pictures in this week. Everybody loves that. Here we have a picture on the right-hand side here. This is page 15. Prairie sky shines over monument of education's past. Well, that must be an old schoolhouse. This photo by Tracy Gregorash, owner of Nature and Nurture Photography, was taken in December of 2023. That's just a month ago, and it depicts an old schoolhouse located near Ditch Lake. The photo is part of Gregorich's Heavenly Lights series. So a nice purple and greenish hue to the sky above the old schoolhouse. So, never had the opportunity to go to a one-room schoolhouse. I was a town boy, but a lot of my friends and my wife had that opportunity. Okay, maybe we'll just hear the obituaries. There's a couple of obituaries in the paper here. Charles Herbert Swanson, Charlie, beloved husband of Kathleen and father of Janine and Glenn, passed away peacefully at Seven Oaks Hospital on January the 7th, 2024, at the age of 88 years. A service will take place at a later date in Brookdale, Manitoba. And another one, Slezak Henry Grant, May 30th, 1960 to December 29, 23. And he was in Calgary, Alberta. Henry Grant Slezak passed away on Friday, December 29th, 2023, after a long battle with lung cancer. Grant was born on May 30th, 1960 in Neepawa, Manitoba, to Lawrence and Verla Slezak. And he spent most of his school years in Neepawa, and I do remember Grant as a student. So, condolences to the families and friends of Charles Herbert Swanson and Henry Grant Slezak. The Franklin Memorial Hall Committee wishes to express our sincere thanks to the Beautiful Plains Community Foundation for their most generous grant of $10,000 in 2023. We were able to upgrade the deteriorating accessibility ramp as well as replacing the cement entrance pad, thus ensuring a safe entrance for all. So they're appreciative of that, and there's quite a committee there. Commend them for over the years to resurrected that hall, and they hold regularly dances in that hall. That's how they fund it. Another thank you here. We wish to thank the following places of business and their staff who accepted donations on behalf of our fundraising project, Light a Memory Bulb in honor of a loved one. They're thanking Neepawa Health Center, It's Time Fashion and Gifts, the Neepawa Banner and Press, Home Hardware, Harris Pharmacy, and Neepawa Pharmacy. And the article goes on to say the contribution of time helped make this a very worthwhile fundraising project, raising $1,138. Thank you to Pharmacy Heresy for allowing us to post the names of loved ones in their window. Thank you to those who purchased bulbs in memory of a loved one and to those who gave generous donations. This annual event helps to provide a warm glow during the holiday season. Thank you to the palliative care volunteers and committee members for your commitment to the program. A very special thank you to the town work crew who assemble and decorate our tree, and to the people who donate a tree every year. Your continued support and commitment is greatly appreciated. May you find peace and happiness in 2024. And this was placed in the paper by the Neepawa and Area Palliative Care Committee. Well, those are the ads that are for organizations. I see anything else we missed. We did a lot of the sports here. I think we've pretty well covered it. The Ag Days, I could read that. No, I think we've covered it all. So, thank you once again for watching NACTV Reads the News. My name's Dave Bennett, one of the volunteers that does this semi-regularly, and it's nice to be out in the bright snow here this morning reading the news. Take it away.